on back again, and I'm going to try this install of Fedora 23 server with Mate GUI desktop. I'm using my webcam pointed at my monitor, and it's this IBM desktop machine. It's 2.8 gigahertz Celeron, which single core, which Celeron D is what it is, and which makes a good little server. It's not too, doesn't make a lot of heat. It's pretty quiet. You can set it on quiet mode, and it stays pretty quiet most of the time. You can hear a little whirring once in a while when the processor starts working hard. But I've got Fedora 21 on it. I'm controlling this laptop that's webcam recording. You can't do even if I did it in VirtualBox, I don't have a machine powerful enough to do a mock-up install and run VirtualBox at the same time. So I'm trying with I'm controlling this laptop with remote desktop. It's a Win 7 system, and has a built-in webcam. It has a fairly decent resolution, much more than these webcams up here. They're really old, so I can't use them. I know you can't read it, so I'll just have to tell what's going on. It's the best I could get. If I've set the laptop behind me, then you see the back of my head. I set it off to the right. Oh, now my stream looks like it's coming in. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure my stream was working before I, considered myself as live and going. So it's beginning to work, and I'm not going to sit here and watch it, because then it will, if I can get out of it. And for some crazy reason, when I'm making a stream, I don't know if it's because I'm making a stream and watching it or what, I've done that before with no problems, but my web browser keeps... See, I'm jumping back and forth and not kind of explaining, but this is on my main machine that I use all the time. It's not much. It's a 1.8 gigahertz Core 2 with 3 gig of RAM. It's running Fedora Linux, and it's actually running Fedora 14. It's got all my favorite apps on it, and I still use it a lot. Then for your server, you don't want anything that old to get broke into in about 4 hours. So but it's behind 2 firewalls, this system here, so it should be okay. I need to upgrade it too. I need a whole new system. In 2005, I discovered open source website software before that, back in my Windows 98 days, but I was running XP in 05 still or that was the main OS then for Windows, when I discovered Linux. And I started out with a distro called Blag Linux. It had everything in the kitchen sink, and I really liked it, and I never went back. And then I moved on to Fedora, just plain Fedora, learned how to build my own systems. And I had played with servers a little back in Windows 98, but I was on dial-up. You couldn't run a server on dial-up. So anyway, after a few years, and I got a high I ended up I've run a server since, I don't know, at least I put my websites on bishopco.com and donsongs.com and psalm68.org. All of them are running on my server since, I don't know, 06 or something, 05, 07, I don't remember now. Anyway, back to what I was saying. XSplit was the last one I used. That's the only one I liked it pretty well, but it's limited. They only limit you to, they want you to, it's free. It's typical Windows free shareware type stuff. You get certain features for free, and then you have to pay to get the rest. That's the big difference between open source and freeware and stuff like that. The one back at the beginning there of the YouTube live streaming last year or so ago, 2 years ago, whenever they started it. Where's that other one? Yeah, I used to put my favorite apps icons on the desktop. I don't care. I'll make it that way. I'll install way too many apps, and I can't find them. Even with the search, Windows searcher is not very good. It's not near as good as the desktop searchers on Linux. You have to kind of know the name of the app, or you won't find it. And usually, and in Linux, I can just search for the purpose or the type of app it is, and I'll end up finding it. So, what is the name of that? It's with a W. XSplit. That's a pretty good one, but limited features. OBS is what I'm using. Tight VNC is what I'm using to stream my desktop over to my Linux box. How you're seeing this right now, whatever it is you're seeing. It's not much. I'm sure. It's on the desktop. Wirecast right there. Wirecast. I never was able. It was hard to set up for me. I never was able to get it working. That was the one that YouTube originally recommended, and in some support, some help streams, the forums, some people mentioned XSplit, and that's when I got onto that. But my big problem was I had to go all the way down to the pretty much the low resolution to even get the voice to stay synced with the video for 20-30 minutes. OBS Studio really doesn't seem like it'll do the higher quality stream, you know, for your webcam or your desktop, remote desktop, but I'll just flip over to desktop for a minute and show you. It'll do a higher quality stream and you can see it pretty good, but that's OBS Studio there, that's XSplit, that's our icons of course, and Wirecast. But best I think I've seen is 10-15 minutes of the audio being synced with the video. So I'm running a stream up to right now and a local recording. I'm gonna see what happens. I hope it doesn't overtax the machine and make it get even worse, but I thought, well, you know, since I know the live stream's probably not going to be too great audio and video sync wise, then I'll do a backup recording, and if I go too long I'll fill up the hard drive, and then I'll be in another trouble. But got about 8 gig on this. I looked at it a while ago, so I'm going to leave it like this, and then what am I going to do? Okay, so I need to put it back on cam or I won't be make sure the whole point of, now I have a KVM switch. I was thinking I might shut down my remote desktop app so that, shut down my remote desktop app so I won't be using so much, that's a lot of network. It's a local network, but it's network is network, you know, so using up my bandwidth for my streaming. So, okay, do not exit this app. Do exit remote desktop. Okay, there it is. Okay, go back to get it out of full screen, and we'll do that now. Everything seems to be working. I'd have to go, it's not too hard to log. I can do it pretty quick if I need to. So close my stream. Okay, and then I'll go on over, close that stream. That'll be good. I'll leave the app running just like that for now. I want to go over here. My switch is back up under the monitor and I can't reach it with my fingers. I have to use my pencil. Okay, now since I'm using DVI input from that desktop, but VGA from the rest of them, it's a 4-port switch with USB, which is cool. Then I have to manually on the monitor switch over to VGA. Now I've got this booted up to, I have to I can turn my head and look at the laptop screen. It's over there beside me. Make sure everything, I can see my audio too over there. Okay, no point in talking just to myself, right? Maybe talking to myself anyway. Maybe I'm the only one that'll ever watch this. Okay, so I've got it halted there at the boot screen. Normally what it'll do, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but it'll automatically start on test this media, and then after the test is done, as long as it passes, it'll go on and automatically start the installation, boot up to the installation system. Used to be called Anaconda, but I think they call it something else now. So I'm going to press enter on that. It's a USB stick. I have it put on a USB stick. I'm not going to go into how that's done. Other than I will say that if you're running a Linux system, you can do it by using the Fedora, the app. What's the name of that app? I can't think of it, but Fedora installs it by default. It's a partitioning and app, and what you can do is use the restore Restore. What you do is you say restore. Go in there to the I can't explain it without looking at it. Anyway, you'll use the restore function and restore the ISO that you downloaded to that stick. Now it'll erase everything on that stick. It also limits the stick to whatever size that ISO is. So you can't put anything else on there, but that's fine, and you can just reformat it later. This is booting up. I don't know if you can see the little line. Now there's a little more text coming up, but it'll take a little while to boot up, but not too long. And I don't know if I guess I already did that. I always hit escape during the boot up. Well, no, I think I'm going to have to do it here in a minute. Otherwise, all you see, it's almost done. Otherwise, all you see is a little line going across, a progress line. And I like to see the commands and see if there's, if there's errors or anything, then you can read them. And basically, it puts you into a command line or a terminal window, if you want to say that. Now, this machine is not all that powerful, and all Fedora installers are really kind of slow working, it seems like to me. But anyway, you kind of wait. See, like I put my mouse over continue. It selects what I want: English language and English United States. English language, English United States. I don't want United Kingdom because in case you hadn't noticed, I'm from Texas, and I don't. That's the kind of language I do, is U.S. English. Okay, so Texas style. So when it gets to where it will do anything when you click, then you can click continue. And you don't want to click over and over and over again if it doesn't seem to respond. It'll just mess things up. So you wait a little bit. If nothing happens, then you may have to. It wasn't ready. Usually my icon turns into a little finger and you know it's ready, but I don't know if it does that in this installer or not. I guess I'm throwing my nose is bugging me. Sinuses. Getting my paper towel up in front of the camera there. Okay, so it takes a while to the installation source. It'll get that automatically. It'll get your closest mirror. You can't do your software until that's done. You need to pick your disk that you want to use. I have two in here. The one that's running that I run Fedora 21 on, and then the disk that I'm reformatting, a different one, hard drive. I mean, disk, hard drive. Now with so many different types, it kind of gets confusing when you just say disk. So first thing I always do when the network's set up, you don't have to change anything in here, but I want my machine to have a name, not just local host. So it says local host, local domain by default, which is fine. But I'm going to name this one Bishop Co. because my website name is bishopco.com. Let me make sure. It's so tiny I can't see it. So then you go up here, and that's what's odd, is because most applications, your controls are down at the bottom right side or in the middle or somewhere, but this is up here at the top. Say done. Click on done. It'll go back. Keep checking my little video. Okay, and it still hasn't finished getting your sources yet. So then you can do it either way. You can do the disk first if you want it, but that's just what I've started. I've done this. This is about the 6th or 7th time I've done it on this system because I'm not ending up with my GUI like I want. Keep forgetting the trick. Had it all down with the old Anaconda installer, and now it's the tricks are different and the way things work are different. If you don't do it right, it just you might not get anything at all. You'll get a broken install. I've gotten several of those the first time I did, ever since Fedora 21. But anyway, I keep forgetting my tricks, my own tips and tricks that I figured out. Okay, I clicked on that disk. That's the one that I don't want to change because it's got my Fedora 21. I can always boot back into there. My server's back up. I have it running on a different machine right now. I have an old Pentium 4, my very first machine I built, running Fedora 22 right now, and I have server running on it. I have basically a duplicate of my server running on it, and I can just, use the router to switch over to it, and that's what I got going right now, so that I'm not offline. I want to make additional space because I'm going to erase the whole hard drive. Now this is something that works good that didn't work at all. I used to have to always If you had any Linux systems on your hard drive, it would usually cause trouble and hang up. Almost always, all the way from 05 from Fedora, what was it, 5? No, 6. Yeah, 5 to Fedora 2019. It would always do that to me. And I've seen other people have that problem. I've seen online. A couple of them I wrote back, on a forum or whatever, and said, "Hey, try this," and they tried and said, "Yeah, it worked." So I would what I did was I would use Parted Magic, Gparted, the graphic version of Parted, and I'm not Parted Magic. That's a boot CD. I would use Gparted. Well, you can either way, either Parted Magic and open up Gparted, or if your machine's in a running Linux system, then use Gparted, and if your hard drive is in a running Linux system, or if you can put it in one, use Gparted and just make it empty. And if you have Windows on there, be careful not to delete that stuff, and make it empty, and then it would work just fine. But then you don't have to do that with the new installer. Somewhere I wonder if it tells you the name of the installer. I've read it I don't know how many times. Well, anyway, so if you just click what you do in the new installer here, click on the disk you want. If you click on both of them, it'll ask you if you want to erase the the second one or not. And of course you may or may not want to, depends on what you're trying to do. But I actually did install it once and click on both, and I didn't lose anything. I made sure to pay attention to what's going on. Most of it you can do just by reading the screen, but there's a lot left out, and that's not intuitive. So automatically configure, leave it that way. You really got to get some Linux knowledge to do manual configuration. Hard drive partitioning knowledge is what it is, really, whether you do it in Windows or Linux. Okay, I want to make space available. That's what you click. Okay, leave it like that. I'm not going to encrypt it. Just get into more stuff I have to remember. Might be a good idea these days with all the trouble online, people getting into your systems. And you see, I've already clicked on the done, but it ain't done in nothing yet. So we'll wait and see if it took or not. That's what I was talking about, everything being kind of slow. So it tells you down here. I'm kind of thinking it didn't take. I got my drinks over there to the right. I usually don't have anything over there to the right but my drinks and other stuff like that. Down there on the right it says one disk selected, 74.56 gigabyte. It's an 80 gig hard drive. 1.47 megabytes free. Okay, so I don't think it took. Yeah, and I never see that hand coming up like it does normally in your regular operating systems. So I'm gonna click it again. I'm afraid I'm gonna get it out of whack is what's gonna happen. Things are slow to react in this install. It seems kind of odd that such a simple looking interface would use that much resources, but it does. Just have to wait on it. And what in the world? Oh crap! My daggum Windows system is trying to restart. I don't even see. I'm trying to use the. Dang it! I hate Windows. I hate Windows. I hate Windows. I hate Windows. It did some kind of updates automatically, and it's not letting me tell it to not restart. It says it's going to restart in 12 minutes. Okay, let me. I got to get back in my remote desktop. I got two things jacking me up now. Get back on my main system. I'm glad I happened to notice that. I would have never realized if I hadn't looked over there. Connect. 107. Okay. Let's see if there's any way to stop that. I hate machines that do stuff when you don't want it to do it. Come on. Come back. There we go. Now, all I see is the option to restart now. I don't want.